Hello viewers from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to another edition of your weekly State of Affairs program here on QTV Gambia. My name is Aliou Cisse, and once again, Happy New Year to all of you, our viewers, for making State of Affairs, one of the leading current affairs program here in the country. And like I said, the first episode of 2025. Well, this week we are honored to speak with one of the most influential figures, I would say, who is shaping the future of this sub-region, West Africa, and this is nobody but Dr. Umar Alieu Toure, the Gambian-born president of the ECOWAS Commission, who is speaking to us for the second time since he assumed office as the president of the ECOWAS Commission. Well, as the Gambia, navigates a critical phase in its democratic transition, issues such as the delayed constitution, the establishment of a special tribunal justice to try crimes committed under the former government, and the ongoing economic mission in the country continues to dominate national conversation. Well, beyond the Gambia, the sub-region continue to face challenges such as security and economic integration. And well, in this interview, we will delve into ECOWAS's vision for addressing these pressing matters, the strategies for strengthening good governance, and the pathway for regional unity and stability. Doctor, once again, good to have you on the State of Affairs program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cisse. I'm honored to be here.
Like I said, 2 years on since your appointment as the president of the ECOWAS Commission, how have you been settling in this role?
Well, we have settled in the position very well, and we've been trying as much as possible to carry out the mandate that has been assigned to us as president of the ECOWAS Commission.
You took over, the presidency of the Commission at a time when cracks were beginning, to appear within the bloc. What effect did this have in your thinking about the job?
Yes, I took over at a time when cracks were actually there, because I took over at a time when we already had 3 transition governments in Guinea, in Mali, and in Burkina Faso. And of course, that is central in whatever we are doing, how to support those transitional processes. And it has dominated a lot of our attention, but that was just part of it. We continue to push for greater integration of the region, because this is the core mandate of ECOWAS, and we have not lost sight of that.
And how pivotal is the Commission and your role as the president of the Commission in driving the agenda of the bloc towards, like I said, achieving its goals of the founding fathers?
Well, ECOWAS is structured in such a way that the Commission plays a central role, but the key decisions are taken by member states through the various organs, such as the Council of ECOWAS Ministers, the Mediation and Security Council, and most importantly, the authority itself, which is made up of heads of state and government of member states. So as a commission, we can we generate ideas, run them by member states, and if they get member states buy-in, then we work on the implementation. Again, the implementation is with member states. Member states will also come with their ideas, and they also have all the right to veto what ECOWAS is, what the Commission is proposing, and come up with their own ideas. And once those ideas gain consensus, it is incumbent upon the Commission and other institutions of the community to implement those proposals or those decisions.
And talking about the institutional and governance structures in place, what would you look at as some of the weaknesses of these structures?
Well, I think every setup has its strengths and weaknesses. In the case of ECOWAS, we have seen instances where perhaps the institutions don't have so much autonomy. They depend very much on member states and that lack of autonomy can be problematic. That is one thing. But let me say, this is not unique to ECOWAS. If you look at the United Nations, you look at the African Union, you have the Commission and other institutions, but member states have the say. I think as we move forward, there will be a way to strengthen the institutions without necessarily weakening member states, because at the end of the day, they are the key decision.
So what are some of the opportunities that exist that you think can help drive that progressive change?
Well, I think the opportunity that I can talk about immediately is the confidence that member states continue to have in the commission that I've had the privilege to be leading since 2022. You must have followed the summit. For the first time in 19 years, Nigeria has decided to pay up all their levies. And this is the first time. And I know the hard work we had to put in to get this, and the hard decisions we also had to take, because when you're leading an institution, you would take decisions that would not be too popular, but that would be in the interest of the whole. Individuals might not be too happy with it, but we have seen the impact that is having. Nigeria is paying up. Cote d'Ivoire is paying up. Normally, we should get Cote d'Ivoire's payment before the end of this year. Ghana is already on a credit in a credit situation. Benin also is paying up. Senegal is not very much in arrears, and the president has also confirmed to me that Senegal will be paying up the little balance that is outstanding. Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Togo, they are all okay. So really, this is a major opportunity for us to reposition our institutions to play the role that they should be playing. The institutions are being funded by member states and by citizens. By the way, we all know about the ECOWAS levies. Whatever you buy, if it is a known regional product, you pay for an ECOWAS. Exactly, you pay for an ECOWAS levy, and that is the levy that supports ECOWAS. And this is extremely important, and we will continue to exploit this opportunity. The other opportunity that is there is the strong partnership we enjoy with the outside world, with the United Nations, with the African Union, with the European Union, with the US, with Russia. All of these, China, of course, and Japan, Middle East, we have solid relationship with all these partners. So these are opportunities that we think we can leverage on to push for greater integration in the region.
So, I mean, you're talking about Nigeria just, I mean, during the last summit, cleared their outstanding debt. Other countries like Cote d'Ivoire are also trying to settle, I mean, their ECOWAS levy. I mean, the non-payment or the slow payment of this ECO levy, how does it affect the effective implementation of your programs and policies?
Well, of course, lack of resources would always affect implementation of programs, and it would mean reducing the number of interventions we can do in member states. It would also mean slow implementation of projects that are already underway. But we do hope that with this new confidence that has been built into the Commission and into the institutions, we should be in a position to push to expedite the implementation of some of the projects and programs in member states. You recall we have key programs, key projects. The Lagos Abidjan Highway is one of those key, actually a flagship project. That corridor has been, the studies have been completed, and they show a capital requirement of, an investment requirement of $15 billion. But with a very high IRR, the internal rate of return, and which is what investors would look at if they want to come in. And I think with this sort of confidence, it will solidify, it will strengthen the Commission and institutions to go out and mobilize resources for such important regional programs and projects. Beyond the Lagos-Abidjan corridor, you also have heard about the Abidjan-Praia corridor, which goes through Bissau, Banjul, and Dakar. You have the maritime component which links Praia to Dakar. So these are important regional projects, and this is how we should go about regional integration. Nothing short-sighted, just long-term visions, something that will change lives of the region, lives of the people in the region. And I am confident that we are now positioned to start those.
And like you said, I mean, the community levy is quite important for the effective implementation of these programs and policies. But how do you monitor, I mean, the use of these funds by ECOWAS institutions? I mean, in ensuring that these funds, like you said, I mean, it's not coming forward as you expect. I mean, some countries are paying, but how do you ensure these institutions use these little resources that are coming in a very productive or programs that can create about that needed impact?
Well, that is part of the role of the chief executive officer of the institutions, and that's the president of the commission. The president must make sure programs are in line with the vision of the community, number one. Number two, the plans of action, the implementation programs are also efficient and cost effective. Certain proposals will have to be weighed against resource availability, and key tough decisions will have to be taken, and this is why the role of a CEO is never that easy. Apart from that, you have control functions that are being played by auditors, by the audit committee, by the administration and finance committee, by the council itself. Yes. So these are all control entities that ensure that whatever is being done in line with the rules of the organization and in line with probity and accountability. Yeah.
Away from that, I mean, we know, I mean, 3 countries have currently, announced that they are leaving the bloc. I mean, in your opinion, I mean, what threat does this breakaway, I mean, brings to the bloc?
I think nobody wins in a separation. That is important. That is, we should all note that. Nobody wins in a separation. West Africa is better off being together than being divided. We are in a world where, I mean, people are doing everything to stay together, to come together, or even to get into new blocks. So the division within the region will threaten 3 things. It will certainly threaten security, it will threaten governance, and it may also threaten social cohesion, because ECOWAS has brought forth a number of advantages. One of those is the free movement of people and the ability of people to settle anywhere. Now, division may threaten this, may affect this. Security cannot be won alone. It requires a lot of collaboration, a lot of cooperation. Would division allow us to really have the type of collaboration that is required? Governance, again, having 2 blocks means having 2 world views. How much would that impact governance, particularly with regard to democratic processes, democratic governance? So these are some of the areas I believe a division may threaten in both the short and the long term.
I mean, for some people, they believe, I mean, the breakaway of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, I mean, perhaps they believe this means, I mean, the bloc lacks authority, legitimacy, and effective sanctions and intervention instruments. Do you agree?
I don't agree with that for various reasons. First, ECOWAS is a community of member states, and each member state is sovereign. Now, it is also a community of principles and rules that have been agreed upon by all the member states. Now, if a sovereign country has taken the sovereign decision to break away or to leave, instead of blaming the community, we should look at what are some of the issues that the member that is leaving has with the organization. Can't those problems be resolved internally? Now, the question is, whatever ECOWAS is being blamed for, can that problem be resolved within rather than without? Because it is easier to resolve things when you are around the table than when you are out of the room. So I believe some of those charges are not founded on any evidence. We are in an age where Tom, Dick, and Harry can just get up and cook up stories and defend them, pretend to be defending them, but they are not supported by any evidence.
Could it be there are other forces outside the region that are pulling the strings from afar?
Listen,
for the divided sub-region?
I believe what is happening in the sub-region cannot be divorced from the global reality. We are in a world which is no longer a monopolar. It is more of a bi or multipolar system. What is happening in the sub-region is a reflection of what is happening around the world. And we have seen the world has never been in such a bad shape for many years. You look around, all you see is just something that's extremely difficult to appreciate. So West Africa is not an exemption. So I certainly believe that this is not divorced from global reality.
I mean, how will you respond to the accusations that ECOWAS has abandoned its founding ideals, or others say it panders to foreign powers, and some believe, I mean, reverse to, I mean, the body will need to develop a new Pan-Africanist vision?
Well, first,
this has been some of the claims also made by the three countries.
Right. Now, the founding principles or the founding objectives of ECOWAS, it will be important we appreciate what those objectives are. Those objectives are integration, economic development of the community, and solidarity. I'm paraphrasing it. I'm not just quoting it. Yeah. Now, what is in ECOWAS today that is different from that? First, we have a common external tariff. We have ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme. We have free movement of people. We have an ECOWAS parliament. We have a regional court of justice. We have regional infrastructure that is supposed to help integrate the region so that we can produce and trade among ourselves. Take our trade from where it is today of 12% to something much higher. European Union is trading at a level of over 65 or close to 70. We are only at 12%. That shows that we have a long way to go. This is what ECOWAS is focusing on. Now, if I hear any accusation that ECOWAS is drifting from those objectives, I want to know what objectives are those critics talking about. It is very good to have criticism, but I believe those criticisms should be based on evidence, not just cooked and unsupported by any evidence.
I mean, you talk about the issue of, I mean, free movement of people. Many will argue, I mean, it is very difficult, I mean, when you travel by land within the sub-region, I mean, at the borders, I mean, you go through harassment as an ECOWAS citizen, and also the issue of the single currency is something that we are still, I mean, yet to see being realized. I mean, what is ECOWAS doing to ensure this is addressed?
Yeah. Right. Let me just address the question of air transport. As you must have followed, the ministers of air transport met not long ago And one of the proposals that they have put on the table and which has been adopted by the authority is actually to see how best to reduce the cost of air transport within the sub-region. They have proposed tax reforms or tax reduction. They have proposed other measures which they believe would help us have cheaper or at least that will reduce the cost of air transport within the region. Now, with regard to the harassment of citizens when they travel around, that is really to be regretted. It is nothing that ECOWAS can condone. We have addressed member states on this, that in as much as member states are required to assure security, that process should not interfere with the free movement of people. And it is really one of our main problems, one of our key problems on these various corridors. Somebody was telling me that in one country alone, they counted between that country and another neighboring country 40 roadblocks. It doesn't make sense. And ECOWAS is doing everything through our ETLS task force to address some of these unnecessary roadblocks that are hampering free movement of people as well as making business expensive, because, I mean, they are delaying businesses. But that certainly is in no way telling governments that they cannot control security. We are in a region which is very volatile, very vulnerable, so governments cannot compromise on security. But that should not affect the free movement of people. Now, the single currency that you've talked about, as you know, the leaders have set up, first the decision is to see how best we can launch it in 2027. The high-level committee headed by the finance minister of Nigeria submitted a report just last week during the summit. And we are trying to see how we can fast-track this. Because, you see, single currency cannot just be wished for. There are certain criteria that must be met. And those are not so much dependent on ECOWAS, but dependent on member states' economic performances. First, the debt level, the inflation level, and all these things. That depend very much on the economic realities of countries. And you have seen that since COVID, inflation has really hit the whole world. And in our region, it is declining, but still at a high level, as my report indicated, my annual report. So these are some of the challenges around the single currency, but it is very central in what we are doing.
And coming back, I mean, to the three countries that have left the bloc, I mean, what's the likelihood that they will return to ECOWAS? Is there any likelihood?
Well, the leaders at the summit have taken key decisions. Number one, to recognize that from the 29th of January, the 29th of January, they cease to be officially members of ECOWAS. From 29th of January. This is in line with Article 91 of the revised treaty, which provides for 1 year transition period from the date of notice by a state intending to leave. So that 1 year will lapse on the 29th, and from that date, the countries will cease to be members of ECOWAS. That's number one. Number two, the leaders also have instructed the President of the Commission to start working on the separation formalities as well as a contingency plan. That should be done from the 29th of January to the 29th of July. That is 6 months. They have decided also that during these 6 months, the doors of ECOWAS will remain open to the three countries. And the facilitators that the leaders have nominated will continue to engage our brothers and sisters in the three countries, with the hope that we can have them back in the community. So I think I will have to reserve my own expectations or my own anticipation and wait for the outcome of that process.
So in the event, I mean, they eventually leave, I mean, what happened to their citizens who are serving ECOWAS institutions?
ECOWAS rules provide that only citizens of member states can be employed as regular staff of ECOWAS institutions. And the rules provide that once a staff member will have to separate if their countries leave ECOWAS. This is what the rules say. It is not an easy matter for any person, any leader to think about separating with a huge number of staff. We are talking about 100 plus staff. And in addition to that, you also have about 4 institutions in these countries. We have the West African Health Organization, which is a major organization, which is based in Bobo Dioulasso in Burkina Faso. We have the Youth Center, the Animal Center. All of these are in these countries. So we will, this is what the leaders have asked the president of the commission to start working on, how to relocate them, what sort of compensation staff will have and all that. But this is what the rules say. The leaders are at liberty to decide to suspend the application of the rules, but until that happens, we will have to apply the rules.
You hosted the former president of Nigeria, Gowon, who came to the commission and, you know, issued an emotional appeal to these 3 countries to reconsider their decision. He must be very saddened.
Yes, yes. Anybody.
Once a united family is, you know,
yes,
some are leaving the family.
Yes, anybody who has the interests of the continent at heart will be sad to see separation. And certainly General Gowon being perhaps the only living founding father who actually was behind the whole process. He has fond memory of the process and how it came about. So he appealed to the 3 countries to reconsider, and of course to ECOWAS to lift the sanctions, which were his appeal was followed through. And let's see what happens in the future.
Moving forward, the issue of good governance in the sub-region has always been described as bad governance has been always described as a recipe for, you know, the frequent military coup that we are seeing in the sub-region. What is the ECOWAS doing to ensure, you know, we are able to promote good governance? I mean, to be able to address the issue of coup.
Well, as you know, the supplementary protocol of ECOWAS on good governance is a very broad and promising protocol that really enjoin member states to practice and entrench good governance. Now, it is also a protocol that encourages citizens to really work in favor of good governance and shun from anything that will affect governance in various parts of the region. So it is the application of this protocol that ECOWAS is working on by ensuring that first elections are held as per the constitutions of countries, and ECOWAS supports these countries, those who seek support, and even if you don't seek support, ECOWAS is always there. You have seen the number of times ECOWAS is sending monitors, election monitors, and
was in Ghana.
Exactly. And before the election observation team leaves, a number of things happen, not necessarily out in the public, but engagement with all stakeholders take place. So these are all part of our good governance mandate that we are trying to promote. And as you know, when I came to the office, one of my key strategic objectives revolves around entrenching good governance.
I mean, the issue of Guinea, I mean, there is a transition ongoing, even though they haven't left, I mean, the bloc. I mean, what is the latest regarding Guinea?
Yeah, we're working with Guinea very closely. I was there myself in July, and we've sent a team there to sit with their technical teams to look at the transition program. They have put together a transition program which ECOWAS has endorsed. Now, along the road, over time, they've realized that they may miss out on a number of key milestones. So they requested for consultation, and we went for that consultation. Now, of course, it was expected that they would have elections by this month, but this will be missed for various reasons. What we are doing now is how to reprogram this calendar of elections and ensure that the process is inclusive. That is extremely important for us because we believe whatever happens, it has to be inclusive. So this is where we are with Guinea, and we are working very closely. Had the meeting with the Prime Minister just in September again after my visit. We had a very good meeting, and I think we are on the same line of thinking. We know elections are not easy, and we'll work together to support them in mobilizing some of the resources that would be required for the whole process. But I'm very hopeful that by in 2025, a lot of things will happen, a lot of positive things will happen in Guinea, and ECOWAS will continue to support them.
You've been leading efforts to bring about reconciliation in Sierra Leone, and of course, even in Liberia. Just last week, we saw what happened at the National Assembly. What is the latest in terms of Sierra Leone? I know at some point ECOWAS was trying to, put up a standby force to be deployed to Sierra Leone. Yeah, is this still going ahead?
Yes, the plans to deploy a mission to Sierra Leone are still on. The government has submitted some proposals which we are looking at, but very much it is a consensus. It is agreed between the government and ECOWAS to send a mission there, and once we complete looking at those proposals, I think we should be in a position to tell member states where we are.
How about Liberia?
Liberia, as you know, there were some difficulties in the parliament, and before that, some minor difficulties that required our visit, and we visited, and I can say that that visit really helped bring various positions closer, and a degree of reconciliation at the level of the executive and the former president. Now the challenge we are having relates to the parliament, where the speaker was being challenged, or was being, I think, there were proposals to replace him. We sent a team there, led by the president of the parliament, who spent many years, many days there. And if I'm not mistaken, one of our Gambian parliamentarians, Bile, was with them. Yeah. And they came back not too encouraged, but my position, or our position, is whatever is happening, it should be done within the laws of the country. Because if you're moving a speaker, I think there should be provisions for that. So in the national laws. So everything should be done in accordance with the law, and that will make life easier for everybody.
Coming closer to home, in the last summit, the ECOWAS leaders agreed to set up a special tribunal court to try crimes committed under the alleged crimes committed under the former government. Tell us more about this.
Well, I think the information about the hybrid court is already out there. The Honorable Minister of Justice of the Gambia issued a very detailed press statement which informs, which gives the details of the hybrid court. I must say that we all should express appreciation to the government for being behind this. People should understand that it is the government of the Gambia that is behind this. And whatever ECOWAS is doing, it is doing it in support of the government's request. So really, it is in response to the government's request that member states have decided to put together a hybrid court that will help the Gambia to address some of the crimes that are not covered by Gambian laws. And the whole idea is perhaps Gambian laws had some difficulties or some gaps that the hybrid court will help them bridge. I think this is so much I can say about the hybrid court. But I want to emphasize the importance of the role that the government has played in this. It is not ECOWAS coming to impose something on government. It is the government that asked ECOWAS for support, and ECOWAS member states have responded.
So I mean, what measures do you think ECOWAS will put in place to ensure that this court is adequately funded and resourced to function effectively?
Well, we'll continue to support the government, either directly or through joint resource mobilization activities.
So how will you ensure that there is no foreign interference in the process, especially from other powerful nations?
It is a court which is supposed to be independent, because the credibility of the court lies in the independence that it enjoys. So if government of the Gambia is expected not to interfere with the court, no other foreign power should be expected to interfere with the court. So we'll all make sure the court remains independent and they deliver, they carry out their assignment in a fair and free manner.
And issue of independence and credibility was the more reason why the ECOWAS Parliament issued an opinion going against the ECOWAS involvement in the establishment of this court. They believe the Gambia has national laws that can take care of this, and ECOWAS cannot be a player and a referee at the same time.
Yeah, it's on. Let me say this. I think that was done at a very early stage, when sufficient information was not made available to some members. I think now that sufficient information has been made available to members, everybody is in support of the hybrid court. That is why this time it went through. I mean, it is a process, and perhaps at that stage it was not ready to be adopted. Additional information was required.
So when do we think this court will start, operation effectively?
Well, the court should start as soon as possible. As soon as possible. The decision has been taken. So if you look at the decision, the Gambia government is a principal player in the implementation of the decision, and it should start as soon as possible.
So what has been the challenge or the challenges in setting up, such a court?
Well, with this decision, they were waiting for the decision of the authority. And to get the decision, member states required a number of information, and that is what has been provided. And this is where I think I said, and I'm repeating myself, that a lot of credit should go to the government for really the hard work, particularly the Minister of Justice and his team, including some technical team members who worked very closely with our team from ECOWAS to ensure that this process progresses.
I'm sure someone watching will be saying, okay, ECOWAS leaders might approve, the setting up of this code, but how willing will they be to ensure that, this thing go ahead, knowing the fact that, they are all presidents, and they might say, okay, we are setting a very bad precedence for ourselves as leaders.
Well, that would have been a consideration before they took the decision, but now the decision has been taken. It shows that that was not a consideration at all. They have seen the need to provide justice. Because where you don't have justice, you wouldn't have peace. So what happened in the Gambia here, from what we have seen, is really was a threat to peace. And if we don't really provide justice to the victims, we will be really promoting injustice. And that is also a recipe for chaos. And I think nobody should be against this. It is a court where everybody should go and have fair hearing. And whoever is, I don't know, who we should all have access to this process to ensure that there is closure and the country moves forward.
And coming back to the ECOWAS mission, given the extended presence of ECOMIC since their arrival in the country in 2017, does ECOWAS, see it as a long-term solution or just a temporary measure?
First, I want to assure Gambians that ECOMIC is not an occupying force. When Gambia needed ECOWAS and ECOMIC, member states responded. And as I speak, it costs so much to run ECOMIC. So member states see the need to maintain ECOMIC in the Gambia until Gambians and Gambian authorities feel comfortable to ask them out. But before that, we should continue to understand that I haven't heard about any maltreatment of the forces around here or anywhere. So we should treat them as our own regional contingent that is serving the region in the Gambia. Gambian peacekeepers, Gambian contingents have been deployed in other parts of the region, in other parts of the world. So it is important we appreciate this. They are not here because ECOWAS just want to come and occupy the Gambia. No, it is very expensive to maintain them. If we feel there is no need for them, they will be withdrawn.
In one of the communiques of the ECOWAS summit, the leaders agreed that by the following year, was it 2022, that they were going to transform the mission into a police mission. We haven't seen that happen. What happened?
Actually, that is still on the cards. Okay. A technical team is supposed to come here. If you look at the summit, yes, they will come and look at the operations of the contingent, as well as the financial issues and other considerations, and then report back to the Commission. And then we will see what we do with that, whatever recommendation they will come.
But looking at the current realities in the country, I'm sure you are not just talking as a Gambian, but in this case as President of the ECOWAS Commission, do you think our men and women in uniform are not capable enough to really take over the security of this country?
Oh yes,
since 2017 to now.
Oh yes, I have full confidence.
With all the reforms that the government said is happening within the security sector.
I have full confidence in our men and women. Gambian men and women are people we should all celebrate and salute. What we also should understand is perhaps their presence here is still in support of those men and women. Really. I don't think it is incompatible with the efficiency of our own men and women in uniform, whom we should all celebrate, and I salute them in passing. I think if they are here, it is because our men and women still feel they need their support. They have been, Gambian security officials have been supporting other groups in other parts of the world. So in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, Sudan. And even exactly. So I see no contradiction here at all, and it has nothing to do with the capacity of our own men and women. It is more of complementary relationship that I see between the two, the ECOWAS contingent and our own men and women.
So what benchmarks or conditions are being used to actually determine when ECOMIC mission can be concluded?
We are waiting on the government to let us know, including the Gambia's own men and women, security officials, to tell us that they think they can just forge ahead on alone, and ECOWAS can withdraw.
And like you said, considering the financial, implications, I mean, do you think this is sustainable as a sub-region moving forward? I mean, not just in the Gambia, but you're also working on having a mission in Sierra Leone, or there's another one in Guinea-Bissau.
But you see, in all these countries, ECOWAS deploys after a request by the government or by the state. And once the governments feel don't see the need to maintain them, they will also communicate that to ECOWAS, and ECOWAS will gladly demobilize. Whether they are sustainable, certainly they are not long-term missions. These are short-term support missions to come and help a country that requires such support. And their terms of reference could also change. And this is why we're sending a team here to come and look at the mission again and see the type of adjustments that would have to be done, and have some engagement with government and our own men and our own security personnel to determine the type of engagement that they will continue to carry out in the country, as well as the timeline that we envisage.
Away from that, let's look at the draft constitution. In one of the summit's communique, I mean, the Gambia was encouraged to, adopt a new constitution that will also in Third Republic. That is yet to happen. I mean, we know the Minister of Justice has tabled the draft 2024 bill for the first reading. But as an institution, as ECOWAS, are you impressed with the progress that the Gambia is making regarding this draft constitution?
I think building a constitution is a national process, and the national stakeholders drive the process. Outsiders, including regional institutions, just provide a supporting role. Now, when ECOWAS calls for a new constitution, this is in line with our mandate in the area of governance to encourage member states to build consensus frameworks, and the Constitution is one such consensus document. Now, I believe the whole country and the political class in particular should be encouraged to maintain dialogue around this important national document. It is only through dialogue that we can get a new constitution. We cannot expect to have a constitution when we don't engage with each other. This is what ECOWAS is calling for. And any team we send over here, this will be our message. We want a national dialogue, a dialogue around this key document. No document is perfect, but the imperfections can be ironed out through national dialogue, through dialogue. If we don't engage, we can't have such dialogue. We will continue to encourage all our political leaders to really see the country and see the nation and get together, have a dialogue about this important document. Look at the areas they feel need to be addressed or need to be removed, and through dialogue anything is possible. But without it, I don't see us going anywhere. So we at ECOWAS will continue to encourage political class and citizens to really promote dialogue.
And like you said, the dialogue has been ongoing. I mean, several organizers have been organizing dialogue with stakeholders and political party leaders. I mean, one of the most controversial issue is issue of term limits within the sub-region. Do you think this is something that all West African countries will adopt, term limit, to avoid people overstaying in power, which in most cases is a recipe for military takeover and instability in most cases?
We have a proposal on the table, again within the framework of our governance mandate, to promote term limits, and strangely, all the constitutions of our region provide for term limit, except the 1997 constitution of the Gambia. So I think the challenge was the adaptation of the regional instrument with the national constitutions. This is where we had some difficulties. But a term limit is a sovereign decision of countries, and we leave it to them. What we feel should not be encouraged is to fiddle with constitution in a manner that favors somebody unfairly. That ECOWAS has been frowning upon that, and certainly we came under criticism in many instances because people don't see us publicly talking about them. But you see, sometimes I always say this, and I've gotten some harsh reactions where I said diplomacy is not a megaphone process. You engage countries in a manner that may not necessarily be out there in the public. But I think ECOWAS has been very consistent with that, you can't wait until 6 months down the before elections and fiddle with the constitution to favor you. Nobody should be, that ECOWAS cannot entertain that. But with regard to the process, national national actors, national stakeholders should lead, and ECOWAS will support them. People should, particularly our own compatriots, should understand that ECOWAS is not yet a supranational institution. As we have supranational jurisdiction in some areas, but not in all areas. Unless member states decide to give ECOWAS the authority to exercise supranational jurisdiction in all areas, there are areas where member states will have to drive. ECOWAS can only play a supporting role.
We're running out of time, but I mean, 2025, what is going to be your priority for your office?
Well, my priorities have been set for me, as you know. The 4x4 strategy is still going forward. I mean, we are very much active in peace support initiatives. We have reactivated the regional standby force. Finance ministers are meeting shortly to determine how those forces will be supported. And in addition to that, we have Resolution 2719 of the United Nations Security Council, which is supposed to support peace support operations in the region and on the continent as a whole. That is one area. Of course, we'll continue to push for our for integration, particularly regional projects. We want to extend our reach in the area of energy collaboration, in the area of power, support the power pool, which is extremely important. When you see Gambians buying power from elsewhere, I mean, there is a regional framework within which that is being done. People should really avoid just coming up with stories without looking at the context. We'll also push for greater trade among our countries, and this is where we will continue to encourage member states to dismantle some of these illegal or unofficial roadblocks that are just distorting trade and the free movement of people. In terms of human development, we'll continue to support member states, build capacity in the area of health, in the area of education. Just last month, we were privileged to sign off for the Gambia some $1.4 million for our health sector. This is something we're very proud to be providing, and we do hope that together we will continue to do this.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umar Aliu Toure, President of the ECOWAS Commission. He is my guest, and guess what? First episode of 2025. There's no better way to start, this year. And thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the program. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program. I was your host, Aliu Sise, and once again, happy 2025. Bye-bye.